Apple's internal tests showed that 1 in every 3 responses was complete garbage. The company lost $400 billion in market value. But wait, the documents I discovered over the past few days reveal something even more shocking. Apple secretly built a ChatGPT clone and is hiding it from the world. Codename Veritas, Latin for truth. Ironic, isn't it? Let me take you back to October 2011. Steve Jobs had just passed away, but Apple unveiled something that felt like science fiction: Siri. I analyzed the launch footage, and the world was genuinely amazed. For the first time, you could talk to your phone and it would actually understand you. But here is where the story gets dark. According to reports I examined from Bloomberg, by 2025, Apple's voice assistant had become an embarrassment. I found data showing that Siri couldn't even answer basic questions like, "What month is it?" In my research over the past few days, I discovered Reddit threads filled with users sharing horror stories about Siri's incompetence. Now, let me hit you with the numbers I uncovered. Apple's ambitious Siri overhaul, originally planned for spring 2025, was completely abandoned. Why? Internal testing revealed a 33% failure rate. Let that sink in. 1 in every 3 responses was garbage. Engineers described the situation as ugly and embarrassing in all-hands meetings, based on reports I analyzed. The corporate irony here is staggering. Apple, with over $200 billion in cash reserves, couldn't make their own AI work. So what did they do? They integrated their competitor's technology. OpenAI's ChatGPT, the company that invented the category, had to ask their rival for help. Before we dive deeper into this disaster, if you're finding this investigation valuable, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I spend days researching stories like this, and your support helps me continue exposing what's really happening in AI.
Now here's where my research got really interesting. I discovered that Apple created an internal ChatGPT clone called Veritas, Latin for truth. According to multiple sources I analyzed, this isn't some experimental side project. It's a fully functional chatbot that Apple employees are using right now to test the future of Siri. Based on documents I found, Veritas operates just like ChatGPT. It can handle complex conversations, save past chats, and support extended back-and-forth exchanges. Apple's AI division uses it to rapidly evaluate new features, things like searching through personal emails, editing photos, and performing in-app actions. But here's the twist that caught my attention. Apple has 0 plans to release Veritas to the public. 0. I analyzed Bloomberg journalist Mark Gurman's reporting, and even he says this could be a strategic error. Real-world consumer data could be invaluable, but Apple is keeping this locked down internally. The irony deepens. The company that prides itself on innovation is so afraid of another public failure that they won't let anyone outside their walls test what could be their salvation. Let me walk you through the timeline I pieced together. In June 2024, Apple held their big WWDC developer conference. Craig Federighi stood on stage and showed off impressive Apple Intelligence demos, Siri accessing emails for flight data, providing reminders from messages, plotting routes and maps. Here's what I discovered. According to the information's reporting that I analyzed, those demos were effectively fictitious. They didn't actually work. Apple showed the world a future they hadn't built. The numbers I found are devastating. The failure was so severe that it triggered a complete leadership overhaul. AI chief John Giannandrea, who Apple poached from Google in 2018 with huge fanfare, was sidelined. Siri leader Robbie Walker is leaving in October. I researched his tenure and found something absurd. One of his pet projects was removing Hey from Hey Siri, a task that took over 2 years to achieve. 2 years to remove one word. In that same time, OpenAI built ChatGPT and reached over 100 million users.
The market reacted brutally. Based on data I analyzed, Apple lost over $400 billion in market capitalization as the AI failures became public. For context, that's more than the entire market value of most Fortune 500 companies. Based on all the data I've analyzed, here's where Apple stands right now. The revamped Siri, powered by their internal system codenamed Linwood, is now targeted for March 2026, nearly a full year late. I researched Apple's other product plans and found they're simultaneously trying to push forward. M5 MacBook Pro and MacBook Air models are nearing mass production, expected between late 2025 and Q1 2026, according to reports I reviewed from Mark Gurman. But here's the strategic problem I identified. If Apple can't get Siri right by March, they might have to do something unprecedented. Allow users to replace Siri with competing voice assistants like Google's Gemini or OpenAI's ChatGPT as the default option on iPhones. Think about that. The iPhone's tight integration and closed ecosystem have been Apple's greatest strength. Opening that up would be an admission of defeat. According to industry analysts I've been following, there's even talk of a standalone AI-powered search engine integrated into Siri, Apple potentially challenging Google search itself. But can they pull it off when they couldn't even get basic voice commands right? The company that Steve Jobs built on insanely great products is now settling for good enough to ship by 2026. So where does this leave us? I've spent the past few days diving deep into Apple's AI crisis, and one thing is clear: Veritas represents both Apple's desperation and their last hope. A secret chatbot named for truth that the public will never use. The company that created Siri in 2011 and changed how we interact with technology now finds itself years behind competitors. The question isn't whether Apple can catch up, it's whether they can survive in an AI-first world without opening up their ecosystem. What do you think? Should Apple release Veritas to the public, or are they right to keep testing internally? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want me to continue investigating Apple's AI struggles, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll be tracking this story as it develops. Until next time, this is AI Handbook, where I expose the truth about artificial intelligence, one investigation at a time.